There's a moment right after you say your name when you can feel if the room is with you. You know the one. It's a tiny window, maybe 2 seconds long, where the other person quietly decides how they feel about you. And most of us have no idea it's even happening. We're too busy thinking about what to say next, or worrying about how we look, how we sound, whether we're being too much or not enough. Meanwhile, the real signal is already being sent, not by your words, by your face, your eyes, your energy in that first breath. Here's the good news. That signal is not fixed, and it is not a personality trait you were born with. It's a set of small, learnable habits, and you can start using them in your very next conversation. By the end of this, you'll know exactly what to shift, and one of the shifts near the end is the one almost no one uses. Let's start with the fastest when of all. The moment someone walks up to you, let your face soften first, before you say a single word. Most people wait to be spoken to before their expression changes, and that half-second gap feels cold, even when we don't mean it to. A warm face that arrives before your words is the single most likable thing a human can do. Try it once today and watch what happens to the other person's shoulders. They drop. That is the sound of someone feeling safe with you. And safety, more than charm, is the real foundation of being liked. People don't fall for the flashiest person in the room. They gravitate toward the person who makes them feel unjudged. So the first shift is simple. Lead with warmth, not with performance. You are not auditioning for their approval. You are offering them a small, quiet gift of ease. The second shift is about your eyes, and it's more delicate than the advice you've probably heard. Everyone tells you to make eye contact, but too much eye contact can feel intense, almost like a stare. The trick is not the amount, it's the quality. When someone is speaking, let your eyes stay soft, like you're genuinely curious about the next thing they'll say. When you speak, briefly break contact to think, then return. That small return is what feels warm. It says, I keep coming back to you because you matter in this moment. Try it once and you'll notice the other person leaning in without even realizing why. Now here's a reframe that changes everything. Charisma isn't confidence. Charisma is attention. The most magnetic people you've ever met were not the loudest or the most polished. They were the ones who made you feel like the only person in the room. That's not a talent. That's a choice they made over and over in tiny moments. And you can make the same choice starting today. Which brings us to the third shift, and it's the one that quietly changes your entire social life. Ask one more question than you normally would. Most conversations die because both people are waiting for their turn to talk. You break that pattern by staying curious for one extra beat. Someone tells you they had a long week, and instead of matching with your own long week, you ask what made it long. That is it. One question. One extra breath of interest. And suddenly the conversation has somewhere real to go. People will walk away feeling like you were the best conversationalist they've met all month, and you barely said a thing. If you're the quiet one in the group, this shift was made for you. You don't need to become louder to be loved. You need to become more curious, out loud. Let's talk about the fourth shift, and this one is about your voice. Not your accent, not your volume, your pace. Nervous people speak fast because they're afraid of being interrupted or losing the floor. Likable people speak just a hair slower than the room. That small slowdown signals something powerful. It says, I am not in a rush and I am not afraid. And when you're not in a rush, the people around you exhale. Try ending your next sentence a beat later than you normally would. Let the last word land. Watch how it pulls people toward you instead of pushing them away. Now here's a small tactical tip you can use in the next hour. When you greet someone, say their name once, near the beginning, warmly. Not 3 times, not in every sentence, and never in a salesy way. Just once, like it matters. Because it does. A name spoken with genuine warmth is the closest thing we have to a social superpower. And most people forget to use it at all. The fifth shift is about your body, and it's the one most people get wrong. We're told to stand tall, take up space, plant our feet. That advice isn't wrong, but it's incomplete. Open posture only works if it looks relaxed, not performed. A stiff, puffed-out chest reads as trying. A soft, open chest with dropped shoulders reads as safe. Think less like a statue and more like someone about to hug an old friend. That's the posture that pulls people in. And here's the piece almost no one tells you. Angle your body slightly toward the person you're speaking with, not squared off like a confrontation. A gentle three-quarter turn is the body language of belonging. It says, I'm with you, not against you. Small angle, huge signal. Let's pause for a second because I want to name something you might be feeling. Maybe you're the person who overthinks every social moment. You replay conversations at night wondering if you said the wrong thing. You've watched other people glide through rooms and thought, why is that so hard for me? If that's you, I want you to hear this. You are not broken. You are not missing some magic gene. You are just someone who cares deeply about connection, and that care, once you point it in the right direction, is your greatest advantage. The people who become magnetic are almost always the ones who used to feel invisible. So, if you felt this before, tell me your story in the comments below. You are not alone in this, not by a long shot. Okay, let's keep going, because the next shift is a big one. The sixth shift is what I call generous listening. Most people listen just enough to reply. Generous listeners listen to understand, and you can feel the difference across a room. The signal is small. You nod at the meaningful moments, not every 3 seconds. You react on your face before you react with words. You let the small silence exist after they finish, instead of jumping in. That silence is not awkward. That silence is respect. And people will remember how it felt to be heard by you long after they forget what you said. Here's a concrete scene to make it real. Imagine a coworker tells you they're stressed about a project. The unlikable response is to fix it, to advise, to relate with your own story. The likable response is a quiet, that sounds heavy. Tell me what's the hardest part. Notice what just happened. You didn't take the spotlight. You handed it back, warmer than before. That is the whole game, right there in one sentence. Now here's a reframe that might surprise you. Being liked is not about being impressive. It's about being safe to be around. Impressive earns applause. Safe earns loyalty. And loyalty is what actually builds a life full of real relationships. The seventh shift is about how you handle small mistakes in conversation. You will misread a joke. You will forget a name. You will say something that lands awkwardly. Every single person does this, including the most charming ones you've ever met. The difference is what happens next. Awkward people flinch and try to hide it. Likable people acknowledge it lightly, laugh at themselves, and move on. A soft, "Oh, that came out weirder than I meant," followed by a small smile, disarms the room instantly. Self-forgiveness in front of others is one of the most attractive traits on earth. It tells them mistakes are safe here. And when mistakes are safe, real connection becomes possible. Here's a small identity shift I want you to try on. Stop trying to be interesting. Start trying to be interested. That one swap will change more conversations than any script or line ever could. Because interesting is a performance, and interested is a gift. People can tell the difference, always. The eighth shift is about compliments, and it's easy to get this one wrong. Most compliments are lazy. Nice shoes. Great job. Cool haircut. They're kind, but they don't stick. The compliments that make you unforgettable are specific and about a choice, not a feature. Instead of "you're so smart," try the way you framed that problem just made it feel solvable. Instead of "you look great," try "that color really suits your energy today." Do you feel the difference? One notices you. The other notices the effort you made to be you. That is the compliment that lands in someone's chest and stays there. Use it sparingly, and only when you mean it. Fake warmth is worse than no warmth at all. Which brings us to something important. Everything I'm sharing only works if it's real. If you use these shifts as tactics to get something from people, they will feel it, and it will backfire. But if you use them as ways to show up more honestly, more warmly, more attentively, they will change your life. That's the whole difference between charm and manipulation. Charm gives. Manipulation takes. Choose to give every single time. The ninth shift is about your energy when you enter a room, and this one is subtle. Most people enter a room asking silently, "What will this room think of me?" Likable people enter asking silently, "How can I make this room a little warmer?" That single question, held in the back of your mind, will change your face, your posture, your voice, and your choices before you say a word. It's not about being the entertainer. It's about being the person who brings a small pocket of ease with them wherever they go. Try it before your next social moment. Take a breath at the door and think, "I'm going to make this a little warmer." Then walk in. That is the whole practice. The 10th shift is the one almost no one uses, and I want to save it for now because it's the most powerful. Here it is. Learn to notice the person no one else is noticing. Every room has one. The quiet one at the edge of the group. The new person who doesn't know where to stand. The one whose joke didn't quite land and who's quietly hoping someone throws them a line. Most people don't see them. You are going to see them. A small look, a smile, a question that pulls them into the circle. That single act, done quietly, without needing credit, will make you more magnetic than any perfect line ever could. Because the people watching will feel it, even if they can't name it. They'll think, "That's someone I want to be around." And the person you noticed will remember you for years. That is the deepest form of charisma there is. Not being the center of attention. Being the one who shares it. Let's bring it all together. Warmth before words. Soft, curious eyes. One more question than you'd normally ask. A slightly slower pace. Their name, spoken like it matters. Open, relaxed posture, angled toward them. Generous listening with real silence. Lightness with your own small mistakes. Interested, not interesting. Specific compliments about their choices. Enter rooms asking how to warm them. And notice the one no one else is noticing. None of these are tricks. They are just ways of being more human, more awake, more kind in the small moments that everyone else is sleepwalking through. That's really all charisma has ever been. Now here's what I want you to do next. Pick one. Just one of these shifts, the one that hit you hardest, and use it in your very next conversation today. Not all 10. 1. Because trying to change everything at once is how change never happens. But one small shift, practiced with real attention, will start rearranging your social life within a week. You'll notice people leaning in more. You'll notice conversations lasting longer. You'll notice invitations you didn't used to get. And, most importantly, you'll start to feel like yourself in rooms where you used to feel like a stranger. That is the real gift here. Not being liked by everyone, but being at ease finally in your own presence. If any of this landed for you, do me a small favor and subscribe, because there's a lot more coming on how to feel truly at home around other people. Hit the like button if just one line here made you think differently about a person in your life. And if you're the quiet one who's been reading between the lines this whole time, welcome. You're going to do beautifully with all of this. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself out there and take care of the person no one else is noticing. That's how the whole world gets a little warmer, one small conversation at a time.